11:57 p.m. local time. A Russian logistics convoy is stuck in the most expensive traffic jam of the year. The soldiers inside are laughing, cracking open early bottles of vodka, and watching the distant flashes of light in the sky, thinking they are festive fireworks. They have absolutely no idea that those flashes are actually the muzzle brakes of their own air defense systems panicking. In exactly 78 seconds, the center of this convoy won't be celebrating the new year. They're going to be the fireworks. Lurking in the darkness miles away is a Soviet-era MiG-29. Ukrainian engineers have retrofitted this old bird with American talons, 2 GBU-62 JDAM-ERs. Each of these 500-pound smart bombs is equipped with a pop-out wing kit that turns a dumb gravity bomb into a precision glider capable of traveling 45 miles. It's like giving a sniper rifle to a peregrine falcon. But here is the detail that 99% of analysts miss, and it's the genius behind this entire operation. The MiG isn't working alone. 15 miles from the bridge, a beat-up, unassuming civilian delivery truck is parked quietly in a tree line. In the back, they are racking 50 cheap foam and foil decoy drones, costing just $500 a pop. Ukraine has been watching this specific convoy for a week, waiting for this exact moment when discipline dissolves into vodka fumes. The trap is set, the bait is ready, and the Russians are about to learn that in modern warfare, the deadliest time to be alive is exactly 3 minutes before midnight. 11:58 p.m. The operation kicks into high gear. The MiG-29 drops to the deck, leveling out at a suicidal altitude of just 200 feet above the frozen Zaporizhzhia plains. At 600 miles per hour, the turbulence at this altitude isn't just a vibration, it's a physical assault. The pilot is wrestling the stick of this 1980s airframe like he's driving a lifted pickup truck down a gravel road at Mach 0.8. To the massive Russian S-400 Big Bird radar scanning the horizon miles away, he doesn't exist. He is hiding behind the ultimate shield, the curvature of the Earth. As long as he stays this low, physics renders the most expensive Russian radar completely blind. Meanwhile, 15 miles from the bridge, the second half of this trap is being armed. Inside the cabin of that innocent-looking civilian truck, 4 Ukrainian special operators are staring at a stopwatch. It's minus 10 degrees outside, but inside the air smells like nervous sweat and stale coffee. They are counting down. Swarm launch in T-minus 60 seconds. This isn't just about pushing a button. If their timing is off by even 30 seconds, the Panzer batteries won't be distracted and the MiG-29 will pop up directly into a wall of Russian missiles. The synchronization has to be absolute. 11:59 p.m. The trap is sprung. The Russian logistics convoy reaches the point of no return, dead center on the 300-foot Kamianske bridge. Suddenly, the radar screen inside the Russian Panzer S-1 unit on the riverbank lights up like a Christmas tree. "Contacts! Multiple contacts!" the operator shouts, his eyes widening. Outside, the night air is filled with a buzzing, popping sound. To the untrained ear, it sounds exactly like cheap New Year's fireworks or maybe a few mopeds revving up for a race. In reality, it is the sound of 50 foam and motor decoy drones, swarming at 5,000 feet, broadcasting a radar signature designed to mimic a massive aerial assault. The Russian air defense grid panics. The Tor M2 battery on the far bank violently slews its 30mm turret trying to track the chaotic swarm. But on the bridge itself, the discipline has completely collapsed. Russian soldiers sitting on top of tons of high explosives crack jokes over the unencrypted radio frequency. They are clinking glasses and watching the light show, completely oblivious to the grim reality. Let's pause the action for a microsecond to understand the geometry of this kill. Basically, engineers took a standard 500-pound warhead, strapped a GPS brain to its nose, and crucially, bolted a set of pop-out wings to its back. This kit transforms a falling rock into a precision glider. Here is the tactical genius that most people miss. When the pilot executes his maneuver, he won't be diving at the target. He releases these weapons from 20,000 feet, giving them enough potential energy to glide for 45 miles. The Russian air defenses are designed to track heat signatures and engine exhaust. But a gliding JDAM is a cold weapon. It has no engine. It has no infrared bloom. It is just a silent 500-pound chunk of death surfing the air currents. While the Panzer and Tor batteries are currently losing their minds fighting the noisy, buzzing swarm of decoys, the real threat is about to enter the airspace completely unnoticed, ghosting in through the silence like a shadow. 12:01 a.m. The roof of the delivery container slides back and the swarm of 50 cheap foil-wrapped drones ascends like a cloud of angry bees. The reaction from the Russian air defense is immediate and hysterical. The Panzer operator screams "Massive inbound" into his headset. In a blind panic, the Panzer S-1 unleashes 30 missiles in rapid succession. The Tor M2 next to it joins the chorus, firing another 30 interceptors. Let's look at the math of this panic. In exactly 4 minutes, the Russians burned through 60 missiles. At roughly $500,000 per shot, they just blew $30 million of taxpayer money to destroy a swarm of toys worth less than a used Honda Civic. The sky clears. The swarm is gone. The Russian radar operators wipe the sweat from their foreheads, thinking they are heroes. But now, their screens are clear for the worst possible reason. They are Winchester. Military slang for completely out of ammo. However, the battlefield is never simple. As the convoy accelerates, desperate to get to the party, the Russians activate their electronic warfare suite. The MiG-29 pilot watches his GPS signal bar drop to 0. The Krasuka 4 jammer is flooding the airwaves with noise. To make matters worse, a sudden 20-knot crosswind hits the flight path, threatening to push the bomb's glide trajectory 50 feet off target, enough to miss the bridge and hit the water. No GPS, high winds, and a target moving at 40 miles per hour. But here is the ace in the hole. The JDAM-ER doesn't just rely on satellites. Deep inside its casing, it houses a military-grade inertial navigation system. It uses high-precision gyroscopes and accelerometers to track its own movement. You can jam a satellite signal, but you cannot jam Sir Isaac Newton's laws of motion. The pilot grits his teeth and executes the pop-up. He yanks the stick back. The MiG-29 screams from 200 feet to 20,000 feet in just 18 seconds. The G-force crushes his chest, squeezing the air out of his lungs. At the apex of the climb, exactly 42 miles from the target, he pickles the weapon. The aircraft jolts upward, suddenly 1,000 pounds lighter. The two bombs deploy their wings and begin their silent, deadly glide into the dark. The pilot immediately rolls the jet inverted and dives back toward the safety of the Earth, leaving the rest to gravity and mathematics. 12:02 a.m. For the next 72 seconds, the battlefield falls into a terrifying, uneven silence. On one side, you have the MiG-29 pilot. He is pulling 7 Gs, diving back to the deck, his heart hammering against his ribs like a piston as he evades a potential counter-launch. He checks his 6, no missile trails. He has successfully punched the ticket, now he just has to survive the ride home. On the ground, 15 miles away, the Ukrainian Special Ops team slams the roof of their delivery truck shut. They don't stick around to watch the show. In this business, if you are close enough to see the explosion, you are already too close. They rev the engine and vanish into the tree line. Mission accomplished. But in the air, the two JDAM-ERs are executing their terminal guidance. They are silent assassins. No rocket motor roar, no heat signature, just the wind rushing over their pop-out wings. If we could see the feed from the nose of the bomb, the Russian convoy would be growing larger by the second. It is a traffic jam from hell. An ammunition truck has stalled right in the middle of the span, trapping 25 vehicles behind it in a fatal bottleneck. Inside the Russian command vehicle, the Panzer operator finally spots the gliders on his short-range radar. He smashes the firing button for his missiles, desperate to intercept. Nothing happens. The system is Winchester. He burned his entire $15 million magazine shooting at $500 foam toys. He switches frantically to the twin 30mm cannons, but the bombs are dropping from a near vertical angle outside the gun's elevation tracking. It is a moment of pure, helpless horror. The soldiers on the bridge look up. The laughter dies. The vodka bottles drop to the asphalt. They don't hear a jet. They don't hear a missile. They just hear the whistling wind of their own judgment arriving. Physics is about to collect its toll, and there is no one left to pay the ransom. 12:03 a.m. The first JDAM-ER arrives. It doesn't hit the road deck. That would be a waste of kinetic energy. Guided by pure mathematics, it plunges directly into the eastern support pillar of the bridge. 500 pounds of tritonal explosive detonates inside the reinforced concrete. The physics here are terrifying. The blast creates an overpressure wave of 500 psi. It doesn't just crack the concrete, it liquefies it. The steel rebar, designed to hold 50 tons of rolling armor, snaps like dry spaghetti. A 100-foot section of the bridge simply ceases to exist, dropping into the freezing river below. 0.8 seconds later, the second bomb delivers the knockout punch. It slams dead center into the stalled convoy right on top of an Ural 4320 ammunition truck. If the first explosion was a sledgehammer, this is a volcano. The impact fuse detonates the JDAM, which instantaneously triggers the truck's cargo of 152mm artillery shells. This is called a sympathetic detonation. The blast wave is so intense it vaporizes the truck instantly, but it doesn't stop there. The shockwave travels down the line of trapped vehicles at 7,000 feet per second. It rips open the fuel tankers behind it. A fireball rises 200 feet into the night sky, turning the bridge into a wind tunnel of flame. The T-90 tanks caught in the inferno suffer catastrophic ammo cook-offs, their turrets popping off like champagne corks in a macabre New Year's toast. It looks like a miniature version of the infamous Highway of Death in Kuwait, 1991. Except this time, it wasn't a squadron of A-10 Warthogs that did the damage, it was a single aging MiG with a clever American upgrade. When the smoke clears, the scene is a masterpiece of destruction. The bridge is cut in half. The convoy is a twisted sculpture of melted steel and ash. At least 25 vehicles are totally destroyed. The operational impact is even worse for Moscow. This feels like Kherson 2022 all over again. Just as HIMARS strangled the Antonivsky Bridge and forced a Russian retreat, this strike has severed the main supply artery to the Stepov-Lobkov front. Russian logistics officers now have to route every single bullet, bean, and bandage through a 50-mile detour. And here is where history comes back to bite them. This detour isn't a paved highway, it is a dirt track that in the Ukrainian winter turns into a muddy swamp known as the Rasputitsa. Napoleon lost an army to this mud, German panzers drowned in this mud, and now, thanks to 2 well-placed bombs, a modern Russian army is being forced back into the same sticky nightmare that defeated their ancestors. What used to take 2 hours will now take 2 days. The frontline troops waiting for that ammo? They're gonna be waiting a long time. So, as the sun rises over the smoldering wreckage in Zaporizhzhia, the lesson for 2026 is written in smoke and twisted steel. Russia thought they could relax. They thought vodka and New Year's ceasefire rumors would keep them safe. Ukraine proved that patience is a weapon. They waited for the celebration, they baited the trap, and they turned a logistics convoy into the world's most expensive bonfire. The message is simple: don't toast with vodka when Ukraine is ready to serve you JDAMs. Now I have a question for the armchair generals out there. This strike mirrored the precision of the US Air Force in Desert Storm, but executed with Soviet hardware. Do you think this Frankenstein approach is the future of warfare, or just a temporary fix? Let me know your tactics in the comments below. Smash that subscribe button for more breakdowns of high-tech warfare. Slava Ukraini!